that how they do it in the movies?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
What's going on? We're just coming back with you for another video.
We decided that since we already have to do a budget meeting, we would just videotape ourselves doing it, and that would be our second video.
Yeah, makes it pretty simple for us.
So we are doing a kind of mid-month budget meeting for April to see how the month has gone so far and what we're going to do for the last week or so of the month.
While we're actually going throughout the living the budget process. So, things aren't always exactly as you plan. Things pop up randomly.
An emergency budget meeting is just the name for any meeting that does not happen for specifically preparing for next month's budget. So if it's about the budget that we are currently in, for example, April, then we just call it emergency budget, whether there is an emergency that we need to take care of or not.
There's two mindsets whenever it comes to budgeting. First is that you just kind of put it together at the end of it, at the beginning of it, which is how we do it. And then there's another mindset of putting it together at the end and see how you did. In order to actually get where we're planning on going and achieve some of the financial goals that we've set for ourselves, we plan a budget around what we want to do with our money, whatever money comes in. And after that, we make sure that we're actually getting where we want to go. It's goal setting in the financial terms. We're setting up our goals for our budget, and we're also making sure we follow through, because that's where both of us agree we want to go. So we're going to make sure we get there one way or the other.
So
Okay.
May, we will do a monthly budget and we will talk about what our main goals are, which are getting out of debt. That's the main goal for us at this point in our lives as far as financial goals. Eventually we will start talking more about investments and setting up and preparing for retirement, those sort of long-term goals. But over the next couple of years, we want to be completely debt-free, which at this point is just student loans and the rest of the car payment on a Ford Fusion car that we have.
That's it.
So we'll talk about those goals at a later video. So now we're going to talk about and go through what we do during a budget meeting. And so we also have Ryan on the computer. We use a software or a computer website called EveryDollar, which we learned about through Dave Ramsey. So
Good coffee.
Thank you. So Dave Ramsey, if you know who he is, he has a lot of financial advice. We've actually been through his course. I don't think we're living completely Dave Ramsey lifestyle in our budgeting process and financial process. I wouldn't call it completely Dave Ramsey, but he uses EveryDollar. We've tried it. We like it. There's a free version and a version where you can pay $10 a month, and the $10 a month lets you pull in your accounts from your banking institution. It's helpful, but it is $10 a month. But they have a free version where you can just track everything manually yourself. Typically what we're going to do during this budget meeting is go through every single category that we have for the budget in EveryDollar, and we will talk about it. We will make changes. If we need to increase the budget because we've spent too much, then we will. If we learn that we're getting more or less income for whatever reason, things that come up such as unexpected medical expenses, whatever, we will adjust the budget as needed. So
exactly. I'm going to go ahead and lead through the actual numbers. And these aren't made up numbers. These are the physical numbers of what comes into and out of our house. We want to share this information, the methodology, and it's too much hassle on our parts because we have other things we're working on. So congratulations, we made $6,000 this month, potentially with a little bit more, which is our first budget item that we're going to talk about.
Because did we really? So Ryan was sick at the beginning of the month, and he is still new at his job, so he didn't have any sick leave. I'm going to go into that amount and see into the items to see what has been put in. And it looks like his payroll was adjusted. I
was off for 3 days, and since I'm 1 month into this job, a lot of my time off hasn't vested yet. So
yeah.
I didn't have any way of reallocating my paycheck to be able to get the exact same amount because I'm salary. The amount on plan, though, the $3,600 that you see there is exactly how much we expect to receive based off of that change.
So at the beginning of the month, it wouldn't have said 3,600, but because he was on top of it and he went back and he changed it.
And speaking of, we
Sure.
had one transaction that came through my paycheck for this past month.
Is that this?
Yeah.
So I have a paper version of it that he took home. So I'm looking at this.
Right. So a lot of it gets allocated towards my paycheck, and then there's a little bit that gets allocated towards reimbursable expenses that I had going on. So what I'm showing you right now is my check right here, which has been reimbursed by part of it has been reimbursed by my company, so I'm going to go ahead and split those expenses. So it's Ryan Work reimbursement and also Ryan Paycheck. And how much was the reimbursement?
$37.53.
All right, and the rest is just okay. That's it.
So my paychecks, I get paid every 2 weeks. So even though I get paid, my pay period ended today, but I get paid next Friday. Even though that's technically in April, that is going to start off our month of May. So the paycheck right at the beginning of the month or right before the beginning of the month, and the paycheck that happens around the 15th of the month are the two paychecks that we attribute to that month.
Exactly.
So I have no more income coming in for April. So whatever's in there is what my April income is.
Exactly. So we have $43 unexpected. So I'm going to adjust your income because we assumed it was going to be 2,400. That's what it was. 2,400, but it's 2,275.
Yep.
So I'm going to change that to 2,275 for this month.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
So
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, that's more of a math thing. So you can see right now that the Every Dollar site is saying that we're $125 over. So that's something we're going to consider going line by line, making sure we still want to spend this amount of money for each individual item, category.
And see how much we have actually already spent. Because some, I think we're over. So what's the next budget item?
All right, so going down the list, we have our favorites, which is just our funds. We have funds in Every Dollar. And funds are basically things that we're working towards getting to either a stable number that we're comfortable with. Like for car repair, it's like $500. That's an example. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Same.
But the emergency fund is $1,000. So that was a goal. So we're not putting any additional money into it. Medical expenses, we have the HSA, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And that has a certain amount, which we're going to change and look up later. Then there's our blow monies. Both of us get about $50 per week to spend in whatever... A month. Sorry. We wish, but no. We're not that nice to ourselves. So we get about $50 per month to spend in whichever way we see fit. So if I want to spend it on Pokemon Go, I can do whatever the hell I want. And I can say no.
Nope, they can't.
That's right.
Sounds good.
So,
we also have something called board exams. I am in my residency, and next year I will need to fly to Florida, which is where the exams are held, pay huge fees in order to take these exams, and that's something that I may potentially be reimbursed by my company, but only after, I think, if I pass. I'm still not 100% sure because that's still about a year away, but we want to be prepared for so like $1,800 at least of fees, and then traveling to Florida, staying there in order to take this exam. So we're preparing for it now, even though it's about a year away, by saving $250 a month. So.
Exactly.
And then, like you said, a number of other funds, but we will go through them when we get to them at that point.
Yep.
So
that's kind of what funds are. They're intermediate financial goals that we need to meet. It's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Don't complicate it too much.
Exactly. So the next thing we look at is giving. It's the next thing. Donations. At this point, we don't have anything that we're specifically donating to. We've got friends who have children who like to raise money for things. We have... we like to give to a university that we went to, our Louisiana Tech. Go Dogs!
Go Dogs!
But this month we haven't specifically set aside or planned to do any of that this month. So that's zero. Presents. It was my little brother's birthday. I hope we don't put this out before I can actually send him his birthday card. So you're getting a birthday card, Braxton.
You're welcome.
And then so that's pretty much it for giving, unless if we know that there's going to be a big like somebody's having a wedding, or we know that we have friends who are having events that we want to buy a gift for, we'll make sure we have enough money to buy them some sort of a gift.
Exactly. All right. Next, we got our savings, which there's only one real thing that we're actually saving for. That's not just a fund, and that's just our emergency fund. In the Dave Ramsey program, it's $1,000 until you pay off all of your debt. You can see right now we have $1,135 and some change. Mm-hmm. So that's just the amount of money that's sitting in a checking account that we don't have direct access to, but I can get within probably 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's just money to be there in case a tire goes flat. That's pretty much the extent of it. The
next
part
is debt. So a lot of these things say zero. That's because at one point we had that debt and we wanted to keep that listed even though we don't owe anything, just to show us what we've paid off. So we had credit card debt before we decided to get rid of all of our credit cards. So we currently don't have any credit card or any lines of credit open. We've canceled and closed all those lines of credit. So we paid off all the credit card debt that we had. We bought new phones whenever we switched over to a plan together. Those phones have been paid off. We have lots of student loans for my master's program. It was about $45,000. I don't think it was 50 total. I don't know. It was around that amount. We don't have it specifically segregated out.
Right. We'll have a separate video of exactly where we started with the debts. Mm-hmm. So we'll go into the absolute details of what each debt started at, when it started, and how it's been eliminated.
So, yeah, correct. So we'll do that. But the debt that I did have, because of the way that I received it every semester and across 2 years, it separated it into different loans. So I had loan A, B, C, and D. Not very original names. But so we decided to keep that segregated to make it, what's the saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Well, if you can have these 4 distinct separate loans instead of one huge big $40,000 loan, it made it easier for us to be able to say, okay, we accomplished something, we paid off this loan, let's move on to the next one. And having those little accomplishments of, we're finally done with this, we finally paid this off, I think keeps you motivated and dedicated to this process. So, and
you can see right now we have 5 different loans that were paid off. Of course, they were smaller. The credit cards through the phones were maybe $1,500 total. But the student loans were some serious chunks.
So the first one was like $2,000 or $3,000. The second one was like $6,000 or $7,000. So we've paid off, I don't know, total we probably paid off at least $10,000 worth of debt.
Yeah, since probably closer to 12.
Closer to 12 since we've gotten married.
No, since December.
Well, no, because we paid off some of it last summer after we got married.
Yeah.
So at least since we've got married, most of it being since December, but we did pay off some earlier than that.
Yeah.
Ryan even has student loans, which you can. Oh, he has a car loan, which is the next thing here.
Yep.
He's even paid off some of that, as well as the next line item, which is a student loan. He's even paid off some of that before we got married, and then now that we're married, we're continuing to work on them.
Right. And we'll have another video about how I handled being an adult at one point in time. It was not very responsible, and I was not very aggressive towards eliminating my loans. Nicole's student loans, she's not even 6 months out of school, starting her residency position. They're not requiring us to pay anything. So you can see some of these have zero towards them. That's because they're not requiring us to make minimum payments at this point. It doesn't matter. We still eliminated a couple because that's debt that we incurred of our own mind, body, will, whatever you want to say. So we assume we're going to have to pay it off at one point. So we're just going to try to we're just going to knock it out. All right. So those are our debts. You can see the other main huge thing is we have $2,200 going towards the Forward Fusion at this point in time. Mm-hmm. That number, we really want to be as high as possible. It gets us towards our goal as soon as we can. Anything where we can stretch money from or take money from one category and apply it to this one, that's what we're going for. That's what our goal is. So that's something that we want to maximize that number as much as we can. So
another thing that we learned, or that is a trick of Dave Ramsey's, or the way that he likes to pay off debt, is he calls it the debt snowball. So you make all your minimum payments. So for us, the only 2 minimum the only two payments that we have on debt is $107 going towards his student loans, and I think his car note is $230. And so those are what we have to pay. And then his advice is after that, after you do your budget and you pay all of the things that you need in order to live, food, housing, electricity, that kind of thing, then you take any leftover money and you lump it and you put it towards the smallest debt. That's why it's $2,200 there. Mm-hmm. So it might not always be $2,200. If we spend more or less per budget, it might change. We're $125 over. If we can't find that money from other places in our budget, it might just have to come out of our debt payment, which is not ideal because we want to pay off as much as possible. But
exactly,
that is something saying, okay, well, we really overspent in whatever area we overspent. We will look at each budget item, see how much we have planned, see how much we've spent, and then if we feel like we need to adjust it, we discuss it, and we come to an agreement together as a loving married couple.
Right.
So, you want to start with household items?
Let's start with this. So this is our miscellaneous category. It's not a catch-all. It's just things that really didn't deserve their own. So first off, we have household items. We have $75 going in this month that we planned on using for toiletries, cleaning, and whatnot. We have spent a total of $4 in household items and toiletries. There's a couple more things that we might need, but in all honesty, do we need $75?
We don't.
Okay.
I don't know if we had plans to like really clean this month or what.
I think that was what it was.
I mean, we're still gonna clean, but I don't think we need $75. So I'm cool with like dropping that down to 15.
15?
Because we have a week left in case we need more Clorox wipes, like the ones that dried out.
Right.
Who knows? So.
All right, cool. We have our blow monies, which this month is going to stay stagnant, but next month Nicole has a proposal. Do you want to discuss that now?
Do you want me to discuss it now? Or why don't we get through the budget first?
Yeah.
And then we can have that as an item on the end. So I'm going to make a little arrow on my notes.
Okay. All right, miscellaneous category. This is more or less a catch-all for random things that it probably doesn't need to be $50 this month.
I vote. I like to make a suggestion that we move $30 of that miscellaneous to entertainment because we want to go see Avengers Infinity War next week, and we are already $5 over in our entertainment budget. Again, it's pretty much mostly movies. We're big movie people, which is kind of our downfall. But
yeah, are
you game with that?
I'm a fan of that.
With that amount, okay.
So that moves our entertainment budget up to $80 this month. So far, we have $25 remaining, and we have spent $55 so far.
I think $25 is enough for 2 tickets for you and I, especially if we do a matinee.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Done. Board exams, $250. That's done.
Yeah. Savings goals. Books and leisure. So I will talk about this one for a little bit.
Sure.
So Books and Leisure is a fund that we personally believe in. Both of us are fans of reading, not necessarily the exact same stuff, but we believe that putting money towards reading is worthwhile even though we're in the situation where we're paying off debt. So we will spend money on books, and even though it's not a lot of money and potentially we can't even buy most books for $20 per month, we're putting money towards purchasing books, which is something we both believe we should be doing. It's kind of more on the personal goals.
Yeah. And so, for example, I just looked, unless it's changed, our fund balance is $50. I'm not sure if that includes, I think it includes the $20 that we put away this month.
Yes, it does.
So next month, beginning of next month, we will have $50 available for either us to buy something together, or if he really wants to use it and I'm like, sure, he can go ahead and use it, then maybe I buy the next book or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not like we don't have a library upstairs, but we believe in books, so it's just part of it. $20 going in has been pretty standard, and we're just going to leave it there, and it's an option if we want to change it.
Sounds good.
Household items is $30. This is more
home office supplies.
Home office supplies, sorry.
I think we can buy like a $15 trash can. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you think of that we need for home office? It's not home office. I'm still struggling with what to do with that TV, but I don't think we're going to do anything about it this month. So I think if you want to drop that down to $15.
Okay.
I
Just
mean,
get that trash can.
it's not going to be a fancy trash can. We just need one.
No, just
for
something from
upstairs.
Walmart or something.
Do you want one trash can for our bedroom and one trash can for the spare bedroom? I think we buy 2 cheap.
Not for the spare bedroom.
What if I'm going to be in there
Nobody's
working?
That's fair.
I say we buy 2 cheap trash cans for $20.
All right. I think we could probably still find it for 15.
15? Okay,
but
great.
I'll give you 20.
Thanks.
All right. The last item in miscellaneous is Ryan Work Reimbursable. This is a fund that I use for work. I purchase things for work. It's mostly food, gas, and parking because New York. So those things I pay for up front, and therefore I want to have the cash up front, but I don't want to keep putting money in every single month to do that. So we set up a fund to be able to move money from that fund to purchase things so it doesn't mess up our budget. When I'm on more trips, more road trips, doing more things, we'll increase that number, the number that you see right here, add the fund balance to an appropriate level for whatever expenses I expect to happen for specific work purposes. So that is pretty much always going to be zero unless we change the goal for that.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. All right. So next is food.
Food.
We are pretty bad when it comes to food.
Absolutely terrible.
We just spend a lot. But as a defense for that, you and I were by ourselves here in Connecticut, like we mentioned in our last video. Go check it out. We do fun things together, but it's nice to go out and to go eat. We're young, that's kind of a way that we socialize. You can see in what we plan and what we expect, we're realistic as far as what we think we're going to spend. Sometimes we still do spend more than that.
Yeah.
So let's go through it. First is groceries. I think we are doing well.
Mm-hmm.
We are spending around $350 to $400 for groceries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's been a whole lot of stuff. What is this Holyoke, Massachusetts thing? Is that a grocery?
Let's see. Which
The
one's
$24 on 416.
$24 and $4.16. That is gasoline.
So we found ourselves $24, which is another note. Go through. Don't just be like, okay, well, we've spent $350. Maybe go through all the things that you've actually spent and where you've actually itemized it, because you could have done it incorrectly.
Right, especially if you're over budget, you gotta come through that. So we got $74 remaining in groceries this month so far. Ah, shoot, man! I thought we were gonna be on ramen for the rest of the month.
No, it's only one more week. I think we'll be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think that needs to be changed at all.
All right.
Next.
Restaurants.
So I did move Be Goods to my personal fund, because that was when I said I wanted to treat us for dinner and a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved that one to mine because I had the money, and I did originally say that I would pay for that.
Right.
So we're only over $16, which is still bad, but we decided to go for Easter, since it's just us. We didn't make food. We decided to go out to eat, which is not something that would normally happen. And then we went to this Japanese place, which was kind of nice. So we tried to put in enough for us to go to 2 restaurants a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think we need to up that just to match what we've spent. So we're not going to add more money so that we can go to eat out within the next week. We're just going to add enough money so that our budget we're not overspent.
Right. I like to let every dollar do the calculations for me, because I can do overages and unders, but running a separate Excel calculator is kind of annoying and painful.
He would just have too much fun with it.
Yeah, I'd have too much fun with it.
Okay, what's next?
Fast food. We had $45 going to it.
Let's look and see what the fast food is. So Boston Market, that was when I picked something up.
While I was sick. Yeah.
While you were sick.
CT Children's.
So that is when I buy food at work.
The cafeteria.
I typically put that under my personal, because I don't need to buy the food, but I do. Or I want to buy like a snack or something.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to put that in your...
So I will click on it. Do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay. Well...
For video purposes.
Oh, so they can see what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then McDonald's, and then $2 in Windsor. Did you stop somewhere on the way up to work?
Windsor...
Because Windsor is on the way to...
Yeah. Yep.
Pep 7.
Pepsi, then.
Oh, did you go to
It's
like a
soda
vending machine? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was in a mall with us. We were
Oh.
in Windsor.
We were not in Windsor.
We were in the Windsor
We went up to
area.
Windsor?
Yeah. Went up north. Yeah, we went up north.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. It was a while ago.
So we're now $9 over since we've had a couple of those. McDonald's was just us. I'm so sorry for my body. And Chick-fil-A, I'm not sorry at all.
No. It was a Saturday. We actually remembered, instead of it being a Sunday, being like, oh, it's
Saturday
closed.
now.
But
We're
it's
not
not
gonna-
in the budget.
That's right.
So just
Up it to
Up it.
55.
to whatever it
Yeah.
needs to be up to.
So, as far as restaurants and fast food, we try not to do at all. We didn't put any money
We
towards it.
sometimes try. Well, Boston Market, I wouldn't actually qualify as fast food, but because we picked it up and we didn't sit down to eat, that's why it's in there.
Yeah.
And if that was gone, then we would be pretty good with our budget for it. But Ryan was feeling sick, and I was feeling not really like I wanted to cook or do much, and so it was just easier at that point.
Yeah.
That's
So-
how I'm justifying it.
That's how we're justifying it, and we're justifying it. I completely accept the fact that we're justifying it. So it looks like we have just enough to go back to that place one more time. Liquid Nirvana
It was a great
in the
place.
budget, but we are still over budget. So
I know that we have some money left over in the coffee shop. I do really want to go back to Liquid Nirvana.
really great place.
It was
Plug,
good.
plug.
It was delicious. If you're in Connecticut and you want to go to Glastonbury, Connecticut, and go to a place called Liquid Nirvana, it's really cool. Anyway, before we get off on a tangent, we are over budget. We can look to see. I can't back
What
up
else
my
we
phone.
can cut?
What else we can cut, and we have money over if we want to go to Liquid Nirvana today. So let's say we use that, we go out, we go to Liquid Nirvana, we get smoothies or that bowl thing that you got, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If my coworker invites us out, like she said that they may be going to a brewery, if she invites us, do you want to go? And if so, I don't know how much that'll cost, but we will need to adjust bars. Bars right now is at 0 because we don't really go out to drink a whole lot. But if we did, we would need to make sure to come back and adjust that. Do you want to do that last?
Let's do that last. Let's see if we can make this 0 without reducing our debt payment first.
I don't know that that's possible, but we'll find out.
We'll find out.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, now a word from our sponsors. We have no sponsors. All right, moving on. Lifestyle.
Verizon.
This category is mostly about things that are mostly necessary for living comfortably. So we have phones, we have internet and cable, we have clothes, medical, personal,
Pause.
every dollar.
Let's go back to cable.
All right, cable. What you got?
We don't really use the cable that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think the internet is $60 ish, but I think you have to pay $10 for the router a month or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's like $70. I think we could cut that payment in half if we cut the cable part,
Mm-hmm.
which I know you're a fan of.
Correct.
We wouldn't get the news in the morning,
True.
which
That's
is really the
all
only thing we
use
use it for. I would use it a lot more, but I'm working so late now anyway with the change in my schedule. I'm working so late now that I barely use it, and we use a lot. We watch a lot of Netflix, and he has Google Chrome. Well, we have Google Chrome, and we have Amazon Fire. We have all these different things that we can watch whatever we want to watch on the TV without having to watch cable.
Right.
I almost think we might as well cut it. And call them and see about reducing that for next month.
I'd be up for it.
Are you down for that?
If we can do it.
I like having the
before-
option to watch TV,
Mhm.
but it's not like we're watching. It's not like we're watching for football games, or it's not like there are shows that we're watching. So it's almost like, why are we paying for it?
Right. Yeah. And as far as my philosophy on TV, so that you know, I'm not a fan of people watching TV for excessive periods of time, which I believe is like 2 hours to be pushing it. So I try and
Different people.
I try and limit the amount of time I spend watching anything, so that I can focus on things that I think are more important. So I'm a fan of cutting it, and I can give them a call Monday, Tuesday,
and
during
see
lunch.
what it would be. Okay.
Okay.
So that's happening.
I also think since we started budgeting and actually outlining what we believe to be important, it's more of a we're getting our goals kind of set together to where,
Or at least I understand what your goals are.
yeah.
And you understand what my goals are.
Yeah.
And we somehow make that fit.
Right. Because a lot of people who don't budget could easily completely avoid the talk of
Kiss break. I want to keep the $60 if we can because I want to buy some shirts, some at least more comfortable shoes. Because now that I'm on my feet for more hours of the day, yeah, I want to keep the $60 if we can. We can come back and maybe cut it by $20, but I really don't want to do that. So medical expenses.
Yes. So every dollar for medical expenses, we were initially, before the HSA situation, just kind of allocating money towards medical expenses, assuming we're going to go to the doctor every once in a while, we're going to get our teeth checked, and we're going to have deductibles to pay. Right now, as it stands, this month our starting balance was $136. We had some spending this month that you can see here in the total of $44, leaving us $92 total. What I propose to do is it's going to get complicated for this month and be super simple next month.
That's fine.
All right, I'm going to put in another one that says HSA.
Yeah.
This is how much is in the HSA. We'll just put that number in there and take the transactions out for this month through there. Since we're paying for it with that card.
Yeah.
And then next month, we'll just eliminate the medical expenses
Category altogether.
And
we
take
will
that
just-
money out of funds and put it back in our checking account.
The money that we contribute to the HSA is deducted straight from my income, as well as health insurance. So if you notice, we're not there yet, but when we get to the insurance section, if you notice, oh, they don't have health insurance, we do have health insurance, but because it comes out of my paycheck before it gets to me, we don't track it on every dollar. We just are aware that we have the health insurance and that it comes out at my first, every other paycheck.
Right. So whenever we have life events, as a company would call it, we'll reevaluate all of our insurances, make sure everything's up to date, make sure we're getting the best rates. But we just assume take-home pay is take-home pay, and we know how much we're paying.
Retirement.
We're comfortable with the number we're paying.
Yeah. So retirement, health expenses. Retirement, health insurance, contributions to the HSA, anything that comes out before it gets to me. That we don't count that as our take-home pay.
Right.
We just make sure that we are aware of that.
Yeah. So I guess additional caveat, the income is our taxed and after health insurance and other insurances income.
Okay. So before we move from medical expenses, we got this bill from when he was sick at the beginning of the month. So this just needs to be paid from the HSA.
Right.
We're not going to do anything else with it.
No.
So I will make a note once we're done with every dollar, we will go online and pay this. So I'll put this here with a note that says pay.
Probably should. All right.
Don't get sick. Okay.
So we got personal care next, which has $0 in it because neither of us thought we were going to get a haircut. And then last on that list of lifestyle, we have every dollar. That is a choice that both of us agree to pay for.
Speaking of that,
yes.
Do you still think it's best to do that?
I feel comfortable in my dedication to input all of my expenses.
What he's not telling you is he's not comfortable with my dedication. But I was actually thinking about it. I think I really want to do that because I think when expenses come up, so like I'm on the app right now, which you guys can't see, but it probably looks like what it does there. So there's an expense, right, that hasn't been tracked. So
yes,
click on it so they can see what it looks like. So when you click on it, you can see what it is. Oh, there's $282 to WOW points. Well, first you're like, who spent that? What's WOW points? Once you figure out what that is, then you can track it. The problem is that if I go to Target and I spend money and it automatically inputs and he's like, oh, look, there's something from Target. That's groceries. And he tracks it. He may not know, oh, I did buy like toiletries with it. And so I think it makes it confusing. Just because I see something from Exxon, I want to maybe get these things categorized so that we can put it into our make them categorized so we can see where we are. If he's categorizing something that I spent or I'm categorizing something that he spent, we may not know the whole story as far as what they actually purchased. All we can see is a number of what the amount was and where they spent it.
Exactly.
So I think it's tricky, and even then it's like, oh, who spent that money? Did you spend it or did I spend it? Or did we spend it together and we both know what it is? I think it can be tricky, and but also sometimes Chase doesn't work.
Now we're done with that category. Lifestyle is done, and we feel pretty comfortable about choices. We're going to move on to housing.
So now that we live together in the same city, and we have one rent payment, and all of our water, gas, and all that is lumped into rent. The only two things that we pay for is rent and electricity.
That's it.
Because we stuck cable underneath internet, which is underneath
lifestyle choices
because we could live without it. So we can't live without a house roof over our head.
We could try.
We really don't want to do that, and we can't live without electricity. Cooking food, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's stagnant. Electricity is always around $60.
So one major thing that changed because we moved here, I have a job that requires me to commute 40 minutes to one direction work, and that's about 35 miles or so, which puts a lot of miles on a really old car, so that's fine.
Did you want to switch cars?
No, I don't.
Okay. That's fine.
So I'm using a lot more gas, so I think our budget is good for gas, though.
I think it's fine.
I think pretty good. I do like 1.2 fill-ups per week. Sorry.
Oh, you fill up a lot more than I do.
A lot more, yeah.
I fill up half a tank like every week and a half.
Yeah.
I just filled up, so I'm good. So we had $558 of car expenses this month. The Ford Fusion that we have, which is the car that I drive, was having some issues with the tires. So we had to spend $558 worth of stuff to fix it. And then there was something else that was wrong with the car, but that wasn't a real concern at that point. The guy just said, it's annoying, and then you might want to come in fairly soon to get it done and checked out before it becomes a problem. But at the time, we didn't feel comfortable spending another $600. Mm-hmm. So we said, okay, we'll do what needs to be done now, and we will regroup, and we'll maybe come back next month.
Right.
So after spending $600, we still have $219.68 left in that fund. We are fine as far as we have $219 this month. If we keep up with $300 next month, that gives us about $500 or so, which is going to be pretty close to whatever the expenses are going to need to be.
The brakes weren't not aligned. They were unevenly worn, so it was causing a lot of friction on one side versus the other. To keep the brakes pretty much in the same maintenance category, we've had all the brakes changed and replaced since it's been a long time. And also, I looked at the brakes. They looked probably like 80% out. It wasn't screeching at that point, but yeah, it was pretty close. So that's also a tire rotation, and there was probably 2 other things that they did. Overall, that was a good bill. It was not a good bill, but it was a good price for everything we had done. Mm-hmm. And then the next deal we have, the $600 for next month, we're planning is going to be dealing with your steering rods. Making sure that those are tight, because when you steer the car, you don't want those to kind of fall apart.
No. Kind of a side note, I think we also have a lot of money in our Chase account that hasn't been spent, that's not earmarked for payment. So after a budget, what you make and what you spend should all be zero. Obviously, that's not going to for sure be the case because we will have some money in our Chase account. But I think with all the moving and all the money that we had saved up for the move for us to come to Connecticut, I think there's still some money after we go through and we pay off our debt payment for this month. Before I get paid for next month, I still think we need to figure out what we have left over that's Lanya up that we can put towards whatever we want to put it towards. So, side note, we won't do that right now.
There's a lot of money that's just kind of sitting there that's not moving in one direction or the other. So what I plan or propose to do is the cash flow analysis of our checking account, making sure that, hey, we can cover all of our bills in this period of time before our next paycheck. So this amount of money we don't need in order to stay positive over the next couple months. Yeah. So we'll figure out what that number is and just kind of do one big clean
Even hearing about cash flow analysis makes me yawn.
I know.
It's not my favorite thing.
It's something that I will do and Nicole will check. So
I will say, yeah, that looks great, honey. Anyway, tolls.
So
Why
I did a
Why is it
thing.
red?
I did a thing. I got us the Easy Passes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
When I came up here, there's a toll through New York that I had to pass over a bridge. It was like $5. So I paid that, and in addition to paying that, I put in $25 to be able to get Easy Passes. So that's what that total is.
Okay. Can we adjust it?
Yep, $30 going towards that, so it's not negative anymore. Public transportation, we don't take any buses or use any Ubers or anything like that. That's what that's for. Moving down, rolling through pretty much. Most of these are stagnant until we get to travel. Insurance and tax. Ooh, sexy.
Oh, we have renter's insurance.
Mm-hmm. State Farm.
We have, which is no, they don't care about that. But we have renter's insurance. Right, we have life insurance on Ryan. We have a $700,000 policy. Dave Ramsey, his suggestion was about 10 times what your income is. That's a little less than 10 times, or right around 10, whatever.
Yeah,
it's enough. And AAA, the budget is $0 because we paid the one-time fee, but we have AAA, and then we also have our auto insurance, which is nice that we just consolidated our auto insurance from what I was paying and what he was paying, and we got a cheaper rate.
Much cheaper
rate. I think it's also because we moved from Texas to Connecticut, and the car insurance rates are higher in Texas.
Right. So, shop your insurance. Jeez. Geico has basically taken over this state, so just in case you ever move to Connecticut.
Is that who we have it through? Geico? Yeah. Other insurance we have that's not listed, we have health insurance, dental. Both of us have, he's got horrible vision, I've got not such great vision, so we've got vision. The dental and vision are fairly cheap. The dental is like $6 a person, and the dental is like $3 a person. And then we also have, for me, long-term disability. Mm-hmm. And there's not, I think there's like a short term.
I don't think you have short term.
I think, either I have it paid by the company, like some sort of a standard, you get this much short term, or we have none at all. We don't pay for it. So I either have it through the company or I don't have it.
Right.
But I don't remember. But we definitely paid, it's like $317 a month for long-term disability, not long-term care. That is different than long-term disability.
Right.
Just in case you're Googling shit, long-term disability, not long-term care.
So, yep. And we actually have to go over my benefit. We went over our benefits. We had questions about it, which I need to ask HR, the one guy at HR, about it. So, I'm going to be getting long-term, and we talked about life insurance, but I don't think we're doing that.
No, we don't.
But we're just going to stay under her health care coverage because it's a little bit cheaper, a lot bit cheaper. Next category we have right now is travel. We're almost done, I promise.
We did no traveling this month.
No traveling
$0.
But we have an expense and it needs to be tracked.
Our anniversary is next month. Our 1 year anniversary. We decided to go to New York City, spend a night, see the sights, check out the town, have fun. So we booked the hotel because it was expensive and we didn't want to have to pay more down the road. And we're gonna have to save. We're gonna have to budget next month for the trip. So for food, which is gonna be a good bit, for parking, for souvenirs, whatever.
Yeah. So people following the Dave Ramsey plan, cut everything out of your life. The reason anniversaries are important, like I have to justify it to you, is that it's an investment in our relationship. And if you're a guy who is thinking about getting married, understand that there will be investments monetarily into your relationship. And not only am I happy that I get to take a minor vacation with my wife, I'm also happy that I can spend time with her like this.
And I think another thing, so like Dave Ramsey, his motto is live like no one else. So then you can live like no one else, on rice and beans, and, cut all of these frivolous extras out of your life. You can get out of debt quicker. And that's true. I think that obviously that's true. I don't know how long we'll be here, and we're so close to places like Boston, to New York, to go up to like Rhode Island, wherever. We're around so much stuff that we want to be able to experience living in the Northeast while we're here, and we can't do that if we never take a trip ever for ourselves.
Right.
Also, our anniversaries are pretty important, like he said.
We're picking and choosing what we're going to be spending our money on like this. The way we're doing it, we're deciding where our money is going to be going. So it's about your priorities. And our priorities are, first off, to be able to live comfortably. So we have an apartment that we can obviously afford. We're not going extravagant with it. It's straightforward. We have minimum bills. We're even thinking about cutting back on bills. Because those things aren't our priority. They're not important to us in that kind of whatever. But in addition to that, there are things that we can cut that we probably should. So this is where I'm going to get on a soapbox. I think that restaurants and fast food has been consuming a lot. We have physically been consuming a lot. That was a pun. You're welcome. But I think I'm not saying we do not do it. I'm saying that we need to start physically saying when we're going to do it. We're making an active decision to not travel and to not pay off debt as fast. Yep. Those are two things that we prioritize way before eating. Yep. Eating for fun.
For like eating
for
out. And even at the beginning of the month when we are budgeting, we budgeted $100 in restaurants, which is kind of max of what we like to budget a month for restaurants. But we did that because we knew it was Easter, and that was what we were going to do for Easter, was go out to eat. And then we knew, okay, we want to also be able to say, one other time during the month, maybe we go out to eat, which we did. That was what we did. There was another expense that was in there that got moved out because I personally used my own money to spend it. Yeah. So that's okay. And so I think we do it. I think for me, it's something that making sure that we make time to not necessarily go out and eat somewhere nice, but like, make sure that we have time to be together and to do things that are just like, he likes to get out the house. I like to get out the house too, but typically that involves some form of payment to somebody, because if we're out all day, unless we decide to come back home and then go back out, it just depends on what we're doing. Right. Also, for us, we're big movie going people, so that takes up,
good bit of the entertainment budget.
That's a good bit. That's pretty much all the entertainment budget is for. It should be called movies.
Yeah.
But we are aware that that's what we like to do, and so we used to go to movies a lot, and we still do. But like, we make ourselves limit. Okay, 2 movies a month. That's something that we easily could go to 2 movies a month, unless there's nothing out that month. Yeah. But knowing that Infinity Wars was coming up, we wanted to go see that. And then we also wanted to go see A Quiet Place, which was at the beginning of the month. So those, even before the month began, we knew that's what we wanted to go see. Right. So we had a plan. We could probably still do better on it, but we were at least okay going into the month, anticipating that this was going to happen.
Yes.
The fast food is something that,
it just happens.
It just happens, and we don't like it, and we want to do better.
Chick-fil-A was my idea. Objectively,
we want to do
wholeheartedly
better.
mine.
And it's easier at the beginning of the month to say, okay, let's go do this, and then by the end of the month, this is where we are now. Like, okay, can't really go get anything else, but whatever. So
right. So I think as long as we are, why I'm not worried about it is because both of us are discussing it. We're thinking about it.
We're on the same page.
Same chapter at least. No, same page. We're talking about it, and we're putting it out there as a thing that we need to address, and we're going to address it eventually. I'm more worried about the war being won than I am about whether or not we spent $5 on Chick-fil-A. It was 17.
Oh, I thought it was 17. I thought it was 12.
But those are the kind of bells that you pick and choose, and I don't mind losing 2 Chick-fil-A bows in a month. It's not a big deal to me.
So a lot of Chick-fil-A bows.
Huh?
Just kidding.
So a lot of Chick-fil-A bows.
Last one. Let's move on.
All right, moving down. We have hobbies. These are things that we really want to spend money on, but we actively understand that we're not going to put a lot of effort into them based on our other goals.
We put them there to give ourselves a placeholder for like, okay, do I want to do a craft next month? Do I want to, is there a project that Ryan's starting next month? I have a couple different projects I'm supposed to be working on. It's hard with work and studying, but if I need to spend money, like if I'm like, okay, I'm making this costume for Ryan, whatever it is, I'm like, I know I'm going to need more material, then there's a place for me to be like, okay, next month, let me ask for $15 so I can buy material and supplies. Or let me ask for, this much money because I know that this is what I'm going to need. So it might not be, okay, right now, let's go out and buy all the materials. I'm pacing myself, which also helps me because I tend to be one of those people who starts projects and doesn't always finish them. So it helps me prevent myself from like going out and investing a whole bunch of money into candle making and then make a couple candles and that's it. Lauren, this is true. You have all my candle making stuff.
True story.
So it's to help me prevent myself from doing that, as well as just give us an idea. Okay, if we do want to do a project, let's plan for it. Let's save up for it. Let's have a goal.
Right. It's so that we are mindful about exactly what we're trying to do. We didn't want to lump these ones into miscellaneous and not think about it. So going down the list, first one we got is HostGator. So I have a website. Prepare for a plug. It's Meenop Design, MEENOP design.com.
I hope we can edit to show like a link.
Yes, we can. Just assume we can do anything
in
post.
Vanna.
There you go. It's a site where I put my thoughts and opinions as it relates to my engineering career, my experience as an engineering student, and things that I think people should know when they're getting into it. So, good idea. Check it out. Next on the list, we have a development sinking fund, which is for the website. There's a couple of things that I would like to do with the website that will require some level of money. We do plan on making some projects that are specific to web development in the future, but those will cost money. Those will cost my time, and that's not what I'm focused on right now. Crafts and tools are like if we have projects that we want to talk about.
Crafts is typically like for Nicole, and tools is for like Ryan, because typically I'm going to be buying stuff to make Ryan's costume. Can we show a picture of what it's supposed to look like?
Sure. It's
in pieces right now. It's not sewn together, and it's not. It's the first draft that's not even done. So it's for that. It's for scrapbooking. It's for any of these things that I want to start doing. I'm sort of in the middle of like 1,000 different things. That's what it's for. And the tools is specifically to purchase tools for projects that require assembly.
Right. Things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
With
things that would
things
that were required to be made in the basement because of the mess.
Or outside.
Or outside. I mean, you can go outside. But there's also, we have a basement. It's the Northeast. They have basements here.
Right. So that is our budget. At this point, we are $383 over. So, in the interest of meeting your coworkers, I don't mind spending $20 getting drinks
for both of us.
For both of us.
So like 2 drinks.
No 2 drinks each if they're really
cheap
simple.
And no food.
No food. Or we can up it to 35 and take that from a coffee shop. Not go to Liquid Nirvana.
The only problem is that there's only 20 left in coffee shop. Because we've spent 15 already. Let's not go to Liquid Nirvana.
Okay.
It's kind of pricey.
So we can take 20 out of bars and put it with the 20 that was?
Yeah.
So 40?
Yeah.
So this is the point in which we decide where we're going to cut. We went through each item, made sure that we understood what the importance is, and now we have to figure out exactly where the $423 now is going to come from.
It'd be nice to have a $2,000 at least payment towards the Ford Fusion loan, but I mean that's fine. I understand. How much is left? I can't see that on the app.
$5,250.
Oh, that would be so nice to have at least 2. That's fine.
Let's see. I'll set it at 2,000. All right. And then we have 168 that we need to find money for.
We've already been through everything. Let me see. I would say like miscellaneous. Well, how about we let's just drop it down to where we're equal in the budget. There's still a number of things that we budgeted for. $60 for clothes, things like that we haven't yet spent. We're going out today. Maybe I'll buy clothes. Maybe I won't. Mm-hmm. So I say let's just pay so that we are having every dollar budget, which means that it's nothing over, nothing under. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the month, once May comes, if we have extra, we have extra. Let's just do that.
All right. So this month we'll see how it goes.
And I think we did well this month considering that you did not work half of a week.
Yeah.
That we didn't anticipate for. So being $400 over budget is really not that bad because that's kind of like almost equal to the amount. Right? It's more. Yeah. It was like how much that you didn't get paid.
Right. At the very beginning of the month, before we had any issues pop up, mm-hmm. We had just over $3,000 going towards the car. So then I got sick, couldn't work for 3 days out of the week. That dropped our income by like $600. Then we had car expenses, which was around $600 this month. So that chopped off a couple thousand going towards that. In addition to that, there were a couple of restaurant things that we did. We upped the food budget because we knew it wasn't going to be enough. And then there was a couple miscellaneous items like healthcare that we had to take care of. So considering everything, our budget got chopped by probably about $1,500, and we did take away some from the actual budget in order to still have a pretty high debt payment. And regardless of anything, I'm okay with $1,800.
It's lunchtime.
Let's go out to eat. I was kidding.
He tempts me.
I know, right? Terrible. Then I make really good food.
I made that spaghetti.
Yeah, you made this. I also make good food.
I didn't say you didn't make good food.
Spaghetti is delicious.
Okay.
So we're done with the budget. It's
overtime. You want that to be this video or next video since it's
next video?
We're talking about my overtime next video.
Yeah. And talking about cars. What we gotta do. So I think that's about it. I hope you had as much fun as we did.
I hope this isn't too long of a video, and if it is, well, you decided to watch the whole thing.
Right.
So that's on you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the video.
I'm tired and hungry. Do you want lunch? Do you want some spaghetti?
I'm up for that.
Okay, I'm gonna make some spaghetti. All right.
Deuces.
Are you done with your cup?
Yeah. Thanks, babe.